All right, well, Iran has launched the 74th wave of missiles targeting the Sultan Air Base of the United States, the United States Fifth Fleet, and Kumala. Imad Fateh, Qiyam missiles and drones have been launched, and the missiles are also targeting military bases and security centers in Tel Aviv. The IRGC has warned that if Israel and US targets Iran's energy centers, the response will be beyond expectations. Well, what does this really mean? We'll talk about this. Joining us at this point in time is Group Captain Dr. M.J. Augustine Vinod, former Indian Air Force fighter. Sir, appreciate you being here with us. When Iran says that the response is going to be beyond expectations, as a defense expert, what do you reckon they mean? Beyond expectations. I mean, that's a little vague strategy, to come about. Of course, no nation is going to reveal its strategy, but the fact of the matter is that so far Iran has been quite, destructive in terms of its intent. And so far, the pathology of the war also is with Iran. They may be the small dog with a big fight. The Americans and the Israelis definitely are taking time to get that.
Vineet, thank you for inviting. It's a very good question. In fact, yesterday, if you remember, Trump had tweeted 48 hours starting from this time, if Iran doesn't climb down from its position and not allow ships to pass through Hormuz, then starting from the best of the locations, I'll start hitting hard. Now, that has a lot of meaning. And that has come in the wake of Irani's statement and Iran's attack on Digo. Now, Vineet, I would like to take a parallel of this attack vis-a-vis the attack that Iran did on Tel Aviv. If you remember, you were talking about the opening statement, the 74th wave. Remember the first waves in the previous campaign was all over. And it didn't hit much of the targets in Israel. And I remember discussing with you and Uday on that particular wave. But as the waves progressed, you noticed the accuracy of the weapon, accuracy of the targeting also improved. Yesterday, we saw an attack on Dimona. So I feel this attack on Digo is an attack that is set out to get some feelers. I would also request you, if and when you run this program, to show a map of Digo. Digo is like a ring-shaped island. On the bottom portion is where the runway is. It's absolutely naked. In the sense, there is no blast pen, there is no shelter for aeroplanes which are parked on the runway. And in front of that, I don't know with what kind of brain anyone goes and makes, the entire fuel facility is next to the tarmac. So Digo is absolutely naked to open to attack. Yesterday, Iran has shown its resolve in attacking towards Digo. Will Americans empty Digo as after having seen what happened to Israel is point number one, Vineet. Point number two, and most important point, is Iran has proved it is not a pushover. Iran has already said the missiles that I'm using now is the old generation missile. I have not yet taken out my new generation missile. The best is yet to come. And I do not think, Vineet, it is some empty threat. I feel it has a lot of meaning.
But how do you think, the Americans and the Israelis could smell that Iran was developing a nuclear weapon but could not detect a number of these other undeclared weaponry, including intercontinental missiles that have been with Iran for a long time?
Very good question, Vineet. In fact, if you look at how North Korea went about, it went about first getting the nuclear warhead right, and then it was concentrating on delivery mechanism. Whereas Iran did exactly opposite. It worked on its complete range, Vineet, of the delivery mechanism, starting from 300 kilometers to 3,000 kilometers. So its delivery mechanism was in place. The Khurramshahr missile can carry 1.8 tons of warhead. Okay, with 1.8 tons, it can go up to 2,000 kilometers. And that is the kind of delivery it has. And swappable warhead. So if it, instead of 1.8 tons, it can carry 1 ton of extra fuel, 800 kgs or 500 kgs or even 100 kgs of nuclear warhead, imagine the devastation it can have. So it got its basic right. So once it gets the warhead going, in no time, it would have its triad going. And that is most important. We need to remember this. For us, from Pokhran to get our triad going, that is aerial launched nuclear weapon, surface to surface nuclear weapon, and submarine launched nuclear weapon, which is your dead hand. It took us more than a decade. But for Iran, the moment nuclear warhead comes into place, it may not even take a couple of years for the triad to come in place. And when that triad comes into place, it is bad news for both Israel as well as for the United States of America. Have they reached there is $1 million question. Somehow I feel they are very close to reaching or already reached there. Major General Sudhakar may bear me out on this or correct me on this, but that is my take on the subject. Will they utilize it? Will America use it first? The whale threat that Trump has given, is it a nuclear threat? These are few questions peace-loving and peace-wanting nation like us. Because for us, if these two nations don't become peaceful, our poor will suffer because we are fossil fuel, we are fossil fuel dependent nation. So is most of the nations of Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Laos, Philippines, South Korea, Japan. They are feeling the pinch already. It is 50 to 70% fuel load on most of these Southeast Asian nations. Poor will suffer beneath. So for us, peace is much more important than it is for war for Iran, Israel, and America. Beneath.